And kicking off our top five for the last week of August in episode 106 here, we're starting off with the SEC, who is clearly making a move towards regulating DeFi with their latest contract with Anchain.ai, which is a firm specially focused on actually exploring and focusing and researching on blockchain transactions on DeFi platforms that could be used in illicit activities such as money laundering and other suspicious behavior. So this is the SEC saying, you know what, DeFi, we think it potentially is under our purview and it has anything to do with securities. They're going to start to regulate it, and now they're backing it up with hard data that they can find on the blockchain with this research firm. So I think that's actually a pretty big deal. I mean, DeFi has an $82 billion space now when it comes to assets in the space. Uniswap traded almost $2 billion in 24 hours. This is a crazy space, a lot of money flying around, and a lot of it could be intersecting with the SEC's purview. So here we go. Let's see what happens. You heard it here first, folks. DeFi is getting attacked now by the SEC.
Yeah, I mean, I like this move though because the SEC isn't putting it on themselves internally to have to figure out a lot of these deep and complex nuances of what DeFi and blockchain and smart contracts are doing. They're actually bringing an outside firm that has experience and has built an AI engine that will actually be able to analyze wallets that are trading. They'll be able to get some reporting done and be able to have more of the details to be able to make proper rulings and justifications around their actions, as opposed to taking it on themselves, which is certainly a lot to handle if you're not in this space full time. So props to the SEC for at least working with other firms to really get a good grasp about what's being built in this space instead of just kind of knee-jerk reacting and doing something drastic.
That's right. In fact, as Jonah Schulman likes to say, comply or die. So that's the SEC. They're always being smart. Got to watch out. Moving on to number 2, we've got Japan. We got the Liquid Exchange, one of the most popular cryptocurrencies exchange in the region, getting breached with a hack. We're looking at $97 million breach. That's no small chunk of change. $45 million of it in Ethereum, and the other remaining amount in Bitcoin, XRP, some Tether, and a bunch of other coins. We saw that at least 16 million of it was frozen. However, that was on Ethereum. Is that recoverable? Who knows? They certainly at least have a lot of safeguards hopefully in place for the investors and customers that got hit by the breach.
Not to mention that the hackers took the Ethereum that they had and swapped it through decentralized exchanges to get it out in a permissionless fashion. So again, this is one of those places where you start to say, all right, should there be some controls on DeFi?
Or maybe the SEC will find out about those transactions with their new firm partner. And number 3, Blockstream, they raised $210 million, Kyle. Wow.
$3.2 billion valuation for Blockstream. Dr. Adam Beck, as well as Samson Mao and many others, have been pioneering in the Bitcoin space for a long time now. Blockstream is one of the largest miners in the space, but they also have been pioneering the Liquid Network, which is a side chain of Bitcoin that was created to allow for a lot of blockchain-style transactions. But specifically here, what I found was fascinating was that the lead on this investment was Bailey Gifford, which is a $486 billion assets under management investment firm. Alan Farrington of Bailey Gifford is going to be joining the board as an observer, and he said specifically that they are convinced by the opportunity of tokenized securities on the Liquid Network. So this was definitely an investment into security tokens, because Blockstream is not only doing the Blockstream mining note, which is a security token that we've covered here on the show, they're also leading through Exordium, which is doing a security token offering. And so they're doing multiple security tokens, and Bailey Gifford specifically sees tokenized securities as the opportunity to transform capital markets. And so it's fascinating to see that that's where a lot of this investment went, not just into crypto.
That is a testament, Kyle. Wow, it's absolutely incredible. The money just keeps flowing into the space.
Absolutely.
Now, number 4, going back to our case of the year, XRP and the SEC, we've got yet another development. It's almost like we need a segment on this at this point. There's so much information, Kyle. But specifically, let's look at it this way. There's a third party, John Deaton, who's been representing thousands of XRP investors, trying to say that the SEC's lawsuit against XRP is untimely and unfair, and as a result caused billions of dollars in losses that should be recovered to the investor. So that makes this case just a little bit more interesting, on top of the fact that any precedent set from this case could have actual applications and ramifications across the entire crypto industry. And in this case, John Deaton, the lawyer representing everybody, actually found some information from a consensus event back in 2019, I think it was, where actually they had the SEC commissioner, one of the SEC commissioners, as well as the general counsel from Coinbase on the same panel talking about XRP and talking about the very fact that the general counsel of Coinbase saying they have a very robust framework. They've worked with a lot of external counsel to make sure that they have a securities framework check in place to make sure that they don't list anything that could be considered a security on Coinbase and therefore not violating any securities law. In this case, there was some banter back and forth that might have revealed that the SEC has already been trying to talk to Coinbase about this, maybe potentially not following the Fair Notice Act. Regardless, it's potentially another interesting reveal within this case that once again kind of puts it in favor potentially of XRP, of Ripple getting away with this.
Yeah, and then also the fact that the SEC specifically prohibits any employees of the SEC in owning securities. And up until 2018, they had not classified any of these things as securities. And so XRP is using that as another piece of ammunition and saying, look, you're allowing your people to buy these shares. You clearly didn't see these as securities. We've been around for 5-6 years and you hadn't done anything. And then that's when those changes started to happen. So there's some very interesting things coming in here. And as we keep saying, there are cracks in the SEC's case here. It's not as straightforward as maybe they had hoped.
And we've seen precedent in their last angle with previous director SEC Hyman, who actually said that you could evolve a security into a utility or a non-security like function, and this might have been the case with XRP. So we'll definitely keep you on touch with all that, but we've got one last thing you need to know about. Number 5, Vertalo hosting a conference. Kyle, what do you got?
Potentially this is going to be the conference of the year, especially with the fact that everything's been so shut down. And Vertalo is launching the Digital Assets and Securities Conference in Austin, Texas at the end of September. And they've got a really great cohort of companies that are going to be there. It's sponsored and led by Planet Wealth, formerly PrefLogic, who's launching a bunch of different solutions in the digital securities and capital market space, specifically for capital formation and fundraising. They also have 4 ATSs that are going to be there: T0, Texture Capital, Oasis Pro Markets, and Templum. All of those guys are going to be on a panel talking about marketplaces and how we can evolve these things. That's going to be a fascinating conversation to have. They also have other high-quality conversations around capital market formations and tokenization of these different assets. So it's just going to be a really great event on top of not only the actual quality of the speakers and the conference attendees that will be there, but it's also at a country club. They're hosting dinners and events. It's going to be a really great networking opportunity on top of just thought leadership sharing, and they've put a lot of effort into this. We're going to be there. The security token market team's going to be there. We're going to be making all kinds of content. We're really happy to be a part of it, and it's definitely one that you don't want to miss if you're going to be in the Austin area in the end of September 21st to 23rd. Definitely try to stop by.
Sounds like it's going to be a great time. And with that, let's get into the rest of the